Welcome to Offensive, where we talk about good teams and bad teams, and we'll let you figure out which one is which. No idea. We're going to talk about week 2 preview, but also we got to go back and talk about a crazy Monday night football game, the Bears versus the Vikings. So we're going to now go to Packer and Bear Talk, baby. And segment number 1. Let's go. I'm so excited because we've got now games by the Packers and Bears to talk about. Monday Night Football, Bears versus the Vikings, and we had the Packers versus the Lions, and then also the Packers versus the Washington Redskins. Okay, guys? So let's go to Chief first. Chief, I'm not sure what have we decided. Who's the good and who's the bad team here?
One of the teams is 2-0, and the other one might still be looking for a quarterback, I got to say. But on the bright side, we got the coach. Monday was a fantastic game. It was beautifully drawn up. When you watch the first quarter, you see us march down on the very first drive. You see Caleb Williams be the first Bears quarterback to ever start 10 for 10, and yet finish the game at 60% completion percentage. But it was the exact opposite of what we used to see with Justin Fields. Justin Fields would start strong in the first quarter, and statistically, his accuracy, his yards per attempt, and his rushing went down every quarter from the first through the fourth. Caleb at least got to start off hot. Last year, he couldn't get anything started in the first half, so that was promising. And then, unfortunately, his accuracy, it tailed off. But we looked fantastic in the beginning. And it's nice that you can say the accuracy tailed off because we saw the wide receivers were open. The tight ends were open. They were in the positions that you want to see. So schematically, the head coach is doing his job. He still has to coach a quarterback, but everything was there for Caleb. Tyler Dunn ran an article this week on Go Long, and it looked behind the scenes pretty well. And one of the things that he pointed out there was one of the issues that they had in camp is the coach would call in the play, and then Caleb, from the time that he got it in his headset until he calls it in the huddle, he'd screw up the play, which is why everyone was lining up in the wrong spot and whatnot, because they were doing what Caleb told them. So his processing power might not be there, unfortunately. He might have had all of the athletic gifts in the world good enough for college. Now, hopefully it's something that the coach, and I believe in our offensive coordinator who we hired, he was another lives, breathe football. Hopefully they're able to get to Caleb. He's still young. It's still time to get to him. But, yeah, it's just mental mistakes like that where you hear it here. If you're the worst person at playing telephone, your team is kind of screwed. But at least the wide receivers who were there, the run scheme wasn't really that effective. But he was effective at running and rushing. You couldn't tackle him. He's a strong man. He looked a little more fluid, and he kept his hips open. So when he was scrambling, you could see he's moving, but he was never taking himself out of throwing position. So he still had that option. So there's a lot of good. There's, a little bit of bad, but all in all, and our defense, they looked like you're supposed to look against a rookie quarterback. They looked solid and whatnot. Yeah, JJ made the comeback, and then he got the 3 touchdowns, but we looked really good without having our 2 top corners and without our linebacker.
So, Dave, let me jump in here because, I think like the Bears, you need some work. There's a lot of echo on your microphone right now.
Okay.
Yeah, big time. I don't know if Hype can hear it, but I'm definitely hearing it.
I'm hearing it.
Bit.
Okay. Well, Dave, you do a Ben Johnson and try to fix that right now. So here's the thing I noticed. JJ didn't seem like he knew where he was. Like the first couple of quarters. So I don't know if that's the Bears defense as much as it is JJ just didn't know. And then when he started to kind of figure it out, I wouldn't say he was torching him, but the run game really got going. And then he made a couple good plays while Caleb missed some really open wide receivers. And
by like 10 yards.
The Bears 100% shot themselves in the foot. But I will say this as a Packer fan. There were some calls against the Bears that were atrocious in that game that allowed the Vikings to get back in. So I wouldn't even say that I necessarily think the Vikings are overall that much better or, necessarily even deserve the win. But they pulled it out. The Bears bared. And, J.J. McCarthy did what he did in college, which is find a way to win as ugly as possible. And it was ugly until about 10 minutes left in the game. So the JJ hype's real. What do you guys actually feel about the JJ hype? Do you think he actually played that well? I mean, a comeback is great, don't get me wrong, but do you think he actually played that well in the fourth quarter?
I think he's the new Tim Tebow. Like when you watch him play and you watch him throw, I'm not scared by this guy. He just throws laser darts. I don't think he has much touch on his passes. He just does not look like an NFL quarterback to me. He looks like a college quarterback who can like win and like do the little intangibles and stuff and run around and scramble. Yeah, he can scramble and get some first downs. Maybe it's like a similar to like a Bo Nix situation where it's like, I'm not really scared to play this guy. I mean, you need somebody with a big arm back there that can make all like if you just took the guys from pure talent wise, I would pick Williams 100 times over JJ McCarthy just from like pure football talent, ability to throw, ability to run around and do things. But JJ did show, he had the mental toughness at the end and the ability to come back and keep his team in it, which is what everyone's talking about. And that's great and everything, but I didn't see anything that scared me of the Vikings and JJ McCarthy whatsoever in that game. It was a combination of Bears having a lot of bad luck, as they always do, and them just kind of like not rising to the occasion and being a dysfunctional team.
Yeah.
Now he might improve and get better and prove me wrong, but I still feel like if Sam Darnold was a quarterback, they could have just like destroyed the Bears in that game. You know what I mean? Having actual elite quarterback play, actually really running a team good from like beginning to end of the game, as we saw them do many times last year, right? That's kind of how Vikings won all those games. Darnold just always did the right thing every play. And then he could make the big throws. So yeah, I don't know. I personally, like, if the Bears played well and played disciplined, I would be way more, especially if they're all their starters in there and their cornerbacks, I'd be way more, I think, a scarier team to play talent wise than the Vikings are.
I think right now I'd agree with that. I think the Bears are, I would be more afraid to play the Bears than the Vikings, because I got to be honest, JJ was so bad. I don't know that like one good quarter is going to turn it around, because he's going to get different looks. He's going to get all kinds of different things thrown at him throughout the year. And yeah, maybe he does improve. Maybe he does get better. But I mean, I wasn't really scared of what he did either. He made some good runs. He made 3 good passes that I can call from that, game. 2 of them happened to be touchdowns. So, those are the ones that matter. And I get it. He's won in college.
And he's throwing to Justin Jefferson.
He's definitely got talent. Let's not say he doesn't have talent, but like, I just don't know what he's going to look like week to week. I think he's going to continue to be very erratic for a while, and we'll see if he can get it together. So to me, here's the thing that I noticed though, like as terrible as he was to start, when the game was on the line, like it seemed like he did lock in, right? Mm-hmm. Where Caleb seems to be the exact opposite.
Falls apart.
Where, dude, you see his face on the sidelines after he missed that 4th down throw. Like, dude, I get it. You want to make that throw, but he looks so dejected. Do you know who he reminds me of, Dave? A little bit. Do you know who I'm going to say?
Smokin'
because
Jay Cutler?
Oh no, not Smokin' Jay. Smokin' Jay always looked like that, even when he threw 4 touchdowns. I'm talking about Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who would look like
his idol.
Yeah.
No, he said Aaron Rodgers has been his idol the entire time. He didn't throw that many picks last year. He doesn't want to make any mistakes, and he'd rather make a bad pass than risk throwing an interception.
Yeah.
So he wants to be Aaron Rodgers in every way, and that's why
Aaron Rodgers would just give up and sit on the sidelines like he was going to like an alimony hearing or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he just looked so dejected and defeated when the game wasn't over. Do you know what I mean? He would just give up
in the game.
Dude, and so Caleb kind of has that in him. And I got to tell you, it's going to win some games, but it's going to lose games too. And we saw it a lot with Mr. Rodgers. So, yeah, that's the most worrying thing for me for Caleb, is that he lets this stuff get to him. So let's transition that into a quarterback that doesn't. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. And I want to say this about the game specifically. Jordan Love was cool as a cucumber in that game, man. He stood in the pocket. He read the defenses. He was making the right reads. He was making the right throws. And he got hit a couple times. Now, let's be honest. The Packers offensive line did a very good job, especially considering 2 starters were out. But they were getting pressure on him still. He took a couple hits, and he stood in the pocket and took those hits and delivered the ball on time. And when he was – remember, this is the other play that I really like that Jordan Love did, is it was 3rd and goal from the 8. He got a little pressure. He rolled out to the right. He looked for guys, and he just threw it out of bounds. He's just like, we're going to take the 3 points. And I was like, dude, that was a vet move because nobody was open. He didn't try to make a miracle happen. in the situation in that game when you're up by a score or 2 scores at that point, and you just want to get the 3 to get a positive drive, like that is the right thing to do. And I think Jordan Love has evolved to a place where he understands the NFL and he understands LaFleur's offense to where he doesn't get flustered. He's going to make the right decisions. And I got to say, as good as the Packers defense is this year, which is somewhat surprising, I'm actually, I think, a little bit more surprised just how chill Jordan Love is all the time. He never lets anything get to him. And I really, really liked what he did in that football game. He was unbelievable. So, Hype, let's hear what you thought about that Packer game.
Yeah, Jordan Love has made it to the next level now. Remember in the playoffs, we beat the Cowboys pretty well, and then we played the Niners, and they played pretty well. But then at the end, he kind of melted down and threw a bad pick.
Yeah.
He's getting more away from that now. I mean, even though he does throw the big passes where he kind of throws up the jump balls, but he does it where like he throws it past the guy. So there's not really a possibility to get picked off. So he does still need to work a little bit on the refinement in some of those deep passes like Golden and stuff, or the timing. Sometimes he'll get to the ball to him a little bit late. There are things for him to improve on. But the thing is that, like, people started calling him a game manager against the Lions, and I was like, he's not really a game manager, but good. That means that you're, like, making good decisions. You're not doing things to hurt your team, and when your team's playing well and your defense is playing well, sure, I will take Jordan Love game manager all day. He still is going to throw the ball, like, 5-6 times down the field, you know, and even that pass to Reed that was called back because of a penalty, if that was a real touchdown, that would be on all over SportsCenter, all over the place. A great pass, right deep.
Unbelievable.
So Jordan Love, like 50% of the time, will make an amazing throw. 50% of the time, he won't. But he's not making those weird, crazy desperation passes and stuff.
Yes.
And part of that is just the elevation of the team in general. I think there's a little bit less pressure on him.
Yes.
And that's the key. When the Packers, when he feels no pressure and is cool as a cucumber, they are freaking dangerous. That's why we talked nice about JJ McCarthy, because under pressure he did well. And I'm like, yeah, Jordan Love's doing that all game long. I wanted a quarterback that does that all 4 quarters or 3, not just 1, right? Yep. So that makes me automatically put the Packers in Super Bowl contention, because once it gets to late season in the playoffs, if you start making mistakes like we saw Caleb do with the Bears and stuff in a playoff game, you're toast, because you're playing good teams with good defenses and the pressure is just going to keep mounting. So that's the next step we've looked for Jordan Love to take. And so far he's showing that he's taken that step. There can always be, you know, it's a long season and everything. But if I was a betting man right now, sometimes, you know, I might do a little bit of that. I would put money on the Packers to make it to the Super Bowl this year, just because he's now reached that level of like a confident quarterback.
One thing I like that Micah Parsons said is, if you score 20, we're going to win. And that's legit. And one thing we had talked about a couple of weeks ago is they built their defense. I know everyone was screaming for them to get cornerbacks. I said, no, you all have safeties. You all have fast linebackers. Now you got that pass rush out there to where you can play zone. And one of the things that the Bears, we made it to the Super Bowl playing cover 2. Which is a lot of zone. We had the nice thing that you guys have with Hafley is with your safety combinations, you guys are able to jump from cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. Every play you're sliding back and forth, because we got picked apart by an elite quarterback, Peyton Manning, because he knows, okay, it's cover 2. I know where the pockets are going to be. You guys have the versatility to where you can shift your zone on every play. You don't need elite corners, but with that pass rush, you can get pressure with just 4. And then you got that speed at safety. You got that speed at linebacker that makes Green Bay's defense really interesting. Like you said, who's your cornerback who used to be a safety?
Keyshawn Nixon.
Yeah, so he knows how to play zone. He did awesome last night.
Yeah,
it looks really promising.
He had 5 pass defenses, dude, which is like elite level in the game.
You used to know. I've been talking Keyshawn Nixon smack for like a year and a half now, and like I just didn't want him on the team. I was like, he cannot cover anybody.
He can't play man,
but he can't play man. He can play zone. So, dude, he had a game last night. Props to Keyshawn Nixon. That's your best game of your career so far. You did a great job covering your zone and covering your guy on the pass. Great job. Here's the other thing too on that, Dave, is that what Hafley has been running a lot is 2 linebackers and Javon Bullard. So the 2 linebackers and Javon Bullard, you got Edgerrin Cooper, who might be the most athletic middle linebacker in the NFL. And then you got Quay Walker, who's also an extremely elite athlete. And then you've got Javon Bullard, who was a cornerback, who can be a safety, who can tackle like a linebacker. So basically, you've got 3 elite tacklers right there that run very fast to the ball. And if you watched last night or 2 nights ago, last night, when Jane Daniels got out of the pocket, Bullard was there. Quay was
Not
there.
only that, he can
Like,
shed blockers. Like he
Yeah.
just goes right by blockers, and
Dude.
he just knows how to get to the guy.
Bullard is a fantastic tackler. I was really impressed with his tackling last night, and I think that's the biggest thing. All these passes, because the pass rush is so good, the quarterbacks are throwing it 2, 3, 4 yards, and then those 3 guys are just hunting. They're just hunting the ball carrier. They're hunting the receiver. Our yards allowed after catch was insanely low again for 2 weeks in a row. They are not running after they catch the ball. The one play they had, it was the Ertz play, and Quay missed the tackle. Ertz made a good play, and he got about 15 yards on it. But I think they only had like 35 or 40 yards after catch. Do you know how much the Packers had in that game? Like 180 yards after
Kraft
catch.
got 35 on his first catch alone for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yak,
We had
Kraft,
300
Yak, and
yards
He had more
passing.
yards than the whole like Redskins team at one point.
Dude, we had 300 yards passing, and like half of it was Yak yards. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we're not allowing Yak, then, dude, our defense is elite. That is elite. Elite defenses don't allow Yak yards. Nobody's going to stop you from completing passes in today's NFL, right? Like, that's just not how it works, because there's just all these different patterns and running backs coming out and things like that, and mobile quarterbacks that can extend the play. But Yak yards is the biggest thing, and the Packers were historically terrible at
We used to
that.
be terrible in space. You put a guy in space, like a running back or something.
Yes, and that's
I remember playing the Saints, and they would just like we couldn't tackle anybody.
Dude, it's been a problem for years, and I think it's finally been fixed, and it starts with those 3 guys, and then Evan Williams and McKinney on top, right, controlling where everybody's going. Like, I saw a couple times in the game last night, McKinney was running over to people, telling them things like, hey, this, hey, this. Like, McKinney knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's smart. He's a vet back there kind of running the show, right? And then here's something else I'll say, because, Doug, you kind of mentioned it earlier, like the pressure is off the offense. I think it is, because I think Micah Parsons is now the number 1 celebrity. He gets all the interviews, right? You saw him talking. Everybody's talking about Micah. And I love it, because then the offense can just do their thing. There isn't pressure on them to go and win the football game because everybody's worried about Micah Parsons. I think that narrative alone has helped the team in general. And, dude, Micah's great in front of the camera. Micah's a celebrity. He's already got his podcast. He's very comfortable there. Like, I like that as Micah as like the figurehead, and then Jordan Love just kind of sitting back doing his thing, staying cool.
And Micah is always himself. In the post-game interviews, they're talking to him, and he's sitting next to Fitzpatrick and all these guys on the board. And one of the panelists turned to him and they're like, "You're scary. I'm scared of you right now." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm pissed." Like he's even though he's being nice to everyone, he's just living, and he's like, "I'm still pissed at Jerry. I still want to show that I'm the best player in this league." And even though he's like being like a personal guy, he's just always Micah Parsons all the time. He's like, "I want to go back on." It was like he's like, and they're like, "Is this your happy place?" He's like, "This is my happy place on the football field. I want to be hunting and I want to be playing football all the time." And I'm just like, what a great vibe to set for the football team.
And he admitted that he's pissed that he's still on a pitch count. Honestly, I said it on Monday, keep him on that pitch count.
Yeah.
Keep him pissed.
You're keeping hungry and you're keeping him fresh. You got him for 21 games. You didn't get him for 17 games.
Well, yeah, exactly. So no, I like everything we had to say. That Packers Commanders game, the score did not give it justice. The Packers absolutely demolished.
There's one thing about the game, guys, that really flipped the switch for me about that. Like me really feeling good about this team. Like in the past, remember when they had some bad plays and penalties, and then they had the bad like punt return where like Golden caught it on like the 4-yard line, and it looked like the old Packers for a minute. Where
and then
just
Debo
like,
runs into their side of the field.
Game on Monday. Let's move on.
Yeah, but then they took the ball and they just marched right down the field like 95 yards, and I was like, bro. We never used to be able to do that.
That's the biggest difference is we made all those same mistakes last year, and we would lose those games. And we weren't even close to losing this game. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the defense was so good and the offense did their business. It's like we're still the youngest team. We're going to have those mental mistakes. We are going to have those. We obviously don't want to see as many. And some of those calls were trash. But like, I'm just saying, we can win ball games being us now and not lose those games. So that's actually pretty
Jordan Love
exciting.
doesn't feel the pressure. He's just making the right
Yeah.
read and just playing good quarterback and just doing what he's supposed to do. And they're marching down the field. And that just, to me, I'm like, you can't beat the Packers when they're doing